I don't know what this video is about, bro, but I got linked this video multiple times called Hoyoverse is playing the long game. I was going to say gay then. Hoyoverse is playing the long game. I don't know if this video is like a positive or negative or anything. I haven't even pre-watched like the first 5 seconds. I dead am going into this so blind. Like the title does not give anything away. So I don't know. Let's give it a watch.
Investing in victory means playing the long game. Sun Tzu, The Art of War.
Probably.
Wait a minute. Didn't Topaz say that?
1, 2.
What a banger song, bro. Oh my god. Hey, we are getting off to a good start. Holy.
Alright, what's the #1 goal of any game company? Depending on who you ask, the
Get you to spend money.
answer may be different. A developer might say it's to create the best game they can, while on the other hand, a
Oh, sorry. I thought you said gacha game company.
consumer might say that the company just wants to make as much money as possible, depending on how they feel about the game itself. If you're one of the 2 people left on the planet that still think any of these companies have goodwill, maybe you'd say it's a mix of both. Gacha games, though, they're different, because they actually have 3 goals, all of which are connected, and all of which are of equal importance. Let's go in order here and talk about
The goals of gacha will probably be, for some reason, something's telling me like part 1 is going to be getting you in the door, right?
step 1. The first goal of a gacha game is to get you in the door.
Yeah, guys, it's the fucking chapter right here. I just read it. Jesus Christ, come on now.
There's a variety of ways they can go about doing this, especially in the current post-Genshin
I feel like it'll be getting you in the door, getting you to spend money, and then getting you to keep playing the game.
gacha landscape. Some might try to just go with the basics and offer a really
Limbus!
compelling story. Some might try to sell you
Your Project Moon lovers in the chat, in the YouTube comments, I need you to leave a comment if you made it to this point. It's a minute into the video, so I fucking hope you did.
unique gameplay or cool animations, and some might try to get your attention with lore.
Hell
Others might go
yeah,
a different
brother.
route and
I'm going to be playing Nikkei at some point. I deadass am. People have convinced me.
shower you with early game rewards, and this is what Hoyoverse does. When you look at any of the 3 current major Hoyo titles, the new player experience for them is amazing. No matter where you look, you're getting rewards thrown at you left and right from both the mail, the content offered, and different incentives.
I envy new players to pretty much any Hoyo game, especially Genshin, that are starting to play like now, dude.
To get you to keep playing.
So many
In
rewards.
Genshin, you have tons of regions to explore, hundreds of quests to do, thousands of achievements to collect, endgame to tackle, events to get caught up in, and so much more. While Honkai Star Rail is newer and technically has less overall content, it takes that early game generosity further by offering incentives for doing the content. For example, by giving rewards to players like the guaranteed 5-star unit on the beginner warp and bonus rolls at specific account level thresholds. On top of that,
this gets people in the door and keeps them playing at least to a certain point because they really want to get to that Trailblaze level 35. So like when you hit Trailblaze level 5, you get a free temple, right? And then you're like, oh, well, the next one's only 15. I can just keep playing. And then it's 25. And then you notice it's taking a little bit longer, but it's better rewards and you kind of want to get to 35. By that point, most people are hooked on the game, bro.
old events are permanently available for you to complete at any time, and
or at least hooked on pulling.
You can get most of the rewards from them. Zenless Zone Zero is even newer than Star Rail is, yet it still has multiple story chapters to clear, both easy and hard content to do, an absolutely massive amount of events, plus the same quality of life that HSR brought with the beginner banner and permanent events. In all 3 of these titles, there's hundreds upon hundreds of roles available, all right at your fingertips, just waiting for you to collect. You can get multiple of the highest rarity units from the free currency offered by these games.
And then when you're caught up, you're like, oh man, what do you mean I gotta actually play the game? What do you mean it's play the game or spend?
That is, assuming you're willing to put in the time to play through all of it, or, you know, you could just get your account managers to do it for you. That's not even mentioning that both HSR and Genshin had selectors within the last year to pick a standard banner unit from. So all that seems pretty generous, right? Why is the company's goal to just get you in the door? Or in other words, what's the reason behind all the generosity? Well, if you remember, I said they actually have 3 goals that are all connected, and the why is the second goal that Hoyoverse has.
Wait, the goal is the why?
Once you're in the door, what comes next?
Oh.
Well, it's getting you to stay.
Yes, exactly. Wait, what's third going to be then? Getting you to fucking leave?
Imagine you're a newish player in a Hoyo game. You've gone
keeping you happy
through the story and the exploration content available. You've taken all the generous gifts that Hoyo gives you as you've been building out your account, and you're finally ready to take on the more difficult content the game has to offer. This is where you'd probably start looking at endgame and then seeing how you can clear it.
Yeah, because you need the rewards, bro. You want to keep pulling, and they're not given to you for free anymore, at least not much. So you gotta work for it. That's what I meant by playing the game, by the way.
You understand the game well enough to attempt it. Do you have the characters you think you need? Are they built well enough? And if so...
In HSR, I still don't have the characters I need for endgame, bro. There's some of the fun endgame I do, but like, I can never max out endgame in HSR.
How much of it can you get through? Well, once you have the answers to all that and just, start trying, you'll undoubtedly be able to clear some of it. Yep. That is, until you hit the wall. This is the wall that you'll reach at some point in every gacha you play, but especially so in Hoyoverse games. Your units won't be leveled high enough, or you didn't invest enough in your gear, or maybe you got the wrong characters and don't have what you need to make any progress.
Oh, maybe they just released a new OP character that you can't pull because you're not spending on the game, and then the next patch it's another character, and then the end game's literally cycled around those new characters, so it becomes increasingly more difficult unless you were keeping up with the meta and pulling for the characters to be able to clear the end game. Maybe there's a character that comes out that's not meta, and you just really want to pull them, so you do pull them, but then you realize that character's terrible for the end game, and then they release another character that's really good for the end game, and you still can't pull them because you spent all your pulls on the character that you wanted to get.
This is where the third goal that Hoyoverse has comes into play. By this point in your account's progress, you've most likely already invested enough time to clear the main content, and you've also probably started thinking about how to clear the more difficult stuff, so you've actually already fallen right into Hoyo's hands. See, their third goal is actually very simple, is to create a wall in the game or a threshold that you can't cross at the current moment in time. And
oh, interesting. What's our threshold other than Stygian Onslaught? Because that is a very good point, right? If you think about this in like Genshin Impact terms, getting you in the door is very easy. The story, the free rewards and stuff, and then getting you to stay is continuously re-upping new content. The wall or threshold, what is the wall or threshold in Genshin? I feel like Abyss isn't really that much of a wall. Maybe it is for like new players. And other than Stygian, actually, you're so right, dude. Imaginarium Theater. You are actually so right, because that requires a long-term investment. Oh my god, you're actually correct. That is so true.
Then it's to figure out how to get you across that threshold.
No, it's easy. The endgame is easy. To do the endgame, you have to own so many characters, have them leveled up to a certain point, and have them good enough. So it is one of the walls. It is.
Or in short, yacht. Way.
Fair. The business model.
The idea behind Gyat is that Hoyo wants to get you to a point where you're willing to spend something. Like, if you can't clear the content that you want to clear, there's basically 3 roads in front of you.
Bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I could probably spend like... I'm bad at the Genshin combat. I'll keep it real with y'all, because the main reason is, like, I like to consider myself for a lot of games to be proficient in the combat. Not incredible, but definitely not bad. I mean, look at Expedition 33, right? I think the most amount of times I died on a single boss was twice on expert mode, and I didn't do the side content to become overpowered. Maybe 3 times, actually, 1 time. I like to think that I'm a quick learner and that I can adapt to the situation pretty well. I can learn pretty fast. The thing is, if I'm bored in the combat, I have no incentive to, like, want to get better at it. Or, like, if that doesn't really feel like I need to improve, then I just don't feel the need. And it's like with Genshin, the content wasn't really difficult. Like Spiral Abyss, once I cleared it once with my Diluc at like C0, at 36 stars, every single Abyss since then, pre-C6 characters, I cleared 36 stars. I don't think there was a single one that I couldn't 36 star, right? So that's one thing. I just never feel the need to really take it that seriously if I'm not finding it difficult. Difficulty is something that really pushes me. But then you get something like the new endgame for Genshin, right? Where it's very obviously, people keep saying, well, it's not designed for you. You're not a whale. Which, in my opinion, is part of one of the problems with that end game. It's like, yeah, so it's not designed for me because I'm not a whale. So what's the result there? Do I just not do it because it's not designed for me, or do I just become a whale and spend a shit ton of money to do it? Like, C0 characters can do it, but I ain't gonna invest time into learning the absolute insanity of Genshin's like min-max combat with animation canceling and doing this and applying this much of an element, because then you can apply 2 more instead of 1, because now 5 years later there's content that actually requires it. You know, I'd much rather just do mechanic-based stuff rather than, again, just pump it out as much DPS as humanly possible, which is most of the time what it is with Genshin. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
The first path is pretty simple. It takes you down the line where you stop playing the game, because after all, if you can't clear any content, then why would you bother? And obviously, Hoyo wants to avoid you taking that path at all costs. So, Hoyo adds incentives for players to actually want to clear the content, and they do it by offering a chunk of the rewards you get per patch for participating in it.
Yeah, one thing I will say is as well, I actually had a YouTube comment about the skin situation, right? The 5-star skins. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I can go over what I think I remember. And they had a really good fix as to how to make the skins more friendly, I guess. Because one of my biggest issues with the whole endgame mode, guys, was that they finally, after 5 years, put weapon skins in the game. Something that I've personally been asking for years. I remember back in Inazuma, I was asking for this shit, dude. I remember saying weapon skins would be absolutely amazing. There's probably countless clips out there of me saying it. The fact that they finally added them to the game, but they locked it behind genuinely pretty fucking difficult combat, right? Just rubbed me the wrong way. I think this YouTube comment was great. They said something along the lines of, my thing was, give the 4-star skin on completion of Fearless, and then 5-star skin for completing Dire. That was my thoughts. The comment responded saying, what if you could get a currency for beating Dire? Only Dire. And just as an example, if you beat Dire, you get like 5 currency, and you could unlock one specific weapon skin with that 5 currency. If you beat Dire within the time limit, that is. And then if you beat Dire in general, like after the time limit stops, it keeps going, and you just beat it, you get like 2 currency. So you'd have to do it 3 times to be able to get one of the weapon skins and then just keep it going that way. I thought that would be an incredible way to do it. So that then even like low spenders and stuff, it might take them 30 fucking minutes to beat it per time. But I guarantee you they're probably going to have a much more fun time than just going against a timer where they can't even do this much of the boss's HP, right?
For example, in the current 5.4 Genshin patch, a free-to-play
They must hire you. Hey, tell them to hire the YouTube commenter, bro. I didn't think of that. My thing originally was just for beating Dire difficulty, give us a key like we get for the Imaginarium Theater, and then just let us unlock the skins that way. It's similar, but it's not quite as good as that, what they recommend.
Can get around 60 rolls for doing every single bit of content in the patch. Of those 60 rolls, 15 of them come from full clearing both of the endgames that are available. If 25% of your rolls come from clearing content, then you know that players have a very, very large incentive to actually attempt to do it.
Yep.
The thing to note with these endgame content rotations is that they follow a strict schedule. What this means is that in every patch, there's essentially an allocated amount of pulls set for the story, events, and other stuff like that.
Bro, it's hard for me to concentrate because this guy uses banger music in the background. Oh my god.
Whereas you'll always get roughly the same amount of pull currency from endgame content.
I feel like I'm talking like Eminem today, bro.
This means that the actual amount of pulls that you're intended to get in the 5.4 patch is 45 and not 60, which makes those extra 15 all the more important.
45, huh? That's an interestingly specific number of pulls. Half of a 5-star. Half of a guarantee.
After all, 45 pulls is just a little bit over.
What things would make you quit Genshin, Brian? Just curious. Quit. I mean, some heinous shit that they did, I guess. Like, really, really bad. I can't even think off the top of my head. Or if the story just became really bad or uninteresting. I play for the story, so it'd be story-related stuff. I'll be sticking with Genshin until the story's done, and then I'll probably play Genshin Impact 2 as well, because I love the story, dude. But everything else, I'm turned off of at this point, dude. Deadass. Like, I don't enjoy the end game. I don't enjoy the combat. The exploration's pretty fun still, depending on where it is. I'm here for the story.
For half of what you need to hit soft pity on a 5-star. Very sneaky, Hoyo. So all that brings us to path 2, which is spending your time. If you can't clear now, well, just log in every day and do your dailies, spend your resin, do all the events, upgrade your gear, and do everything else that comes with these kinds of games. If you commit your life to the game, you'll certainly be able to clear in the future.
Yep.
Hoyo demands a significant amount of effort from you to get all the rewards that they dangle in front of you. The worst thing is that it feels like you barely have enough time to complete everything. In Genshin, events are too short. For example, the Lantern Rite celebrations only lasted for 2 weeks, and in ZZZ, we get so many events that it can honestly kind of get a little overwhelming. I guess there's never a lot going on.
Was that actually like one patch worth of events in ZZZ? I don't play the game, so I don't know. If so, that is crazy.
HSR, but that's a whole different issue. Honestly, there's usually enough stuff going on that it feels like Hoyo would do anything to keep us from cheating on them with other games, except for actually treating their players well. And this brings us to path 3, where it gets even more insidious, because this is the route where you spend money. If you don't have enough gear or characters leveled to clear right now, well, there's this funny little button you can press to refresh your daily stamina and farm more. Don't have the right unit.
I've used that so much in the past, by the way. I haven't used it recently, like, at all, but especially in Genshin. I used Primos to refresh resin. When I was growing on Genshin and like my account was not in a good spot, I remember, I think I literally topped up once just so I could resin refresh to play the game for longer. I was peak brain rot addiction at that point.
Units to be able to clear, like maybe you're missing a support for your DPS or vice versa. Well, Hoyo's going to make absolutely sure that the wish button will be on your screen at all points during gameplay, and they'll also ensure that the shop button is available every single time you open the wish screen. You know, just in case, right?
Yeah.
So you've gone down path 2 or 3, and now you're in. You've fallen for their trap, and you're you're across the threshold of no return. You've invested your time or your money, so you should get something out of it, right?
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, you got hooked, line and sinker, and now you're in it for the long haul. You just don't realize it yet. At this point, all of your free resources...
Is that just a gacha game issue? Yes, of course. I think this guy's mainly making the topic about Hoyoverse because he plays Hoyoverse games, which is fine. You're not going to get the full picture from other games as well, like if you don't play them. So I think this is fine to make this about Hoyoverse since he is a Hoyo player.
Resources are gone and dried up, apart from what they ever so generously give you each patch. But you can be damn sure that they'll make it seem like you're getting a whole lot more.
True. Marketing. Marketing's
one tactic.
One thing Hoyo does incredibly good, other than the music, deadass marketing. Hoyoverse are master marketers, bro.
Companies use to not only get players in the door, but also to increase potential earnings by going hard on marketing. Sensor Tower reported that between Q2 of 2023 and Q1 of 2024, which coincidentally was the first year of Honkai Star's release, Hoyoverse invested nearly $300 million into digital marketing for their games, which was over a 487% jump compared to their previous year where they spent less than $100 million advertising Genshin in their previous titles. They advertised their games everywhere. They're on media sites like YouTube, Twitch, Bilibili, and so on. Like, if you're watching gaming related videos without an ad blocker, you can't go more than a few videos without seeing an ad for at least one of their games.
That's insane,
I'm sure we've all seen the Natasha ad video at least once.
It's also kind of funny, dude, because obviously I've done ads for Hoyo before and other games, but I get comments so many times when people click on my videos to watch them that they're like, oh, I clicked on the Bran video and then I got an ad with Bran on it. And I thought I clicked on the wrong video. I was like, oh god.
Browsing around.
Oh god.
I'm Natasha, an underworld doctor.
Oh god, not this one.
Feeling sick?
There's also sponsored videos, streams, and events where they go out of their way to show new people the game and try to encourage them to play it themselves. Like ZZZ sponsored EVO, and even more crazy, HSR sponsored the broadcast of the Olympics on it.
Yeah, that's fucking insane, dude. This might be the craziest, like, marketing campaign Hoyo have done. The Olympics.
NBC. But it's not just digital marketing because...
I'm just waiting, bro, until next year it's gonna be fucking Robin on screen singing at the fucking halftime show with a Super Bowl or something, whenever the next Super Bowl is. Something wild.
Because they also do a lot of events to try and build their community. For example, they host events like Hoyoverse, and they do annual streams for both regular patches as well as bigger events that are themed after the new region for patch cycle changes with their major games. On top of all of that, they do concerts, collabs, pop-up events. They're extremely active on various social media sites like Twitter and the like, and they show up at major events like Anime Expo,
I'm sorry, what was happening
there? On various social media sites like Twitter and the like, and they
just a hug, a kind hug. Okay, that's literally just motorboating, bro. I can see the nose. What are you doing?
Show up at major events like Anime Expo.
They jiggled on the drop.
Anime NYC, Games,
what the hell?
The Game Awards, the Tokyo Game Show, and a ton of others. Outside of IRL marketing, another point that's very important to note here is that Hoyo markets the characters they release as content for their respective games. There's a reason that almost every time a new character is released, the ads for the game get updated to reflect that. They want you to always be seeing the new stuff because if it gets you excited to log in, then that's a +1 on their player retention count. Even if you're someone that stopped playing at some point, all it may take is one super hot character and then you're right back into their clutches again.
I do see a lot. Do you know what I see a lot of? And it genuinely pisses me off because it's just peak gambling addiction and that's all it is. I see a lot of people, and I mean a lot. I couldn't count on my fingers how many people I've seen that are like, oh god, I've seen it mainly for Genshin, but they'll say like, oh yeah, no, this game fucking sucks, man. I'm skirt's coming out there, but I'm pulling skirt, then I'm quitting. Fuck you mean, stupid? If you're gonna quit, why waste your fucking money on pulling a character? Make it make sense. Just quit the fucking game. I've seen it so many times. I feel called out. Listen, if y'all have done that in the past, why? Why do you still want to pull the character if you quit in the game? Because these people deadass do quit the game after as well that I've seen. They will spend money on the character so it's on their account and then they will stop playing the game. But they know in advance that they're going to do that. Why not just save the fucking money? I did that, but it was free to play pulls. Addiction. It's like crack. Yeah, it's just crazy, bro. It's just crazy. Can I move the camera? Bro, you've already got one foot on screen. Come on now.
FOMO comes into pretty big play here as well. Remember that every time a character's on banner and pullable, they're only there for a limited time. When they're gone, until whenever Hoyo decides it's time to pull them out of the basement again. This can result in the wait for a character being upwards of close to 2 years.
Wisely, Shenhe.
Looking at you, Shenhe. Besides feeling like you've missed out, it basically means that you won't have a whole lot to do if you don't end up getting any characters in the patch you're playing, especially if there's no explorable content to hold you over. And all this does is further incentivize players to go for things that they might not necessarily want.
Yeah.
This all allows Hoyo to actually take a pretty lazy approach to the actual content they release for their game, because if the character is the content, then what incentive does Hoyo have to actually create anything?
A lot of people are telling me that HSR like 3. I think, what is it, 3 and 3.4 are very, very good. But I do have one question, and I expect I know the answer to this. I understand that the cutscenes of the story is probably really good. Have they reduced the amount of bloated dialogue, and have they upped the amount of cutscenes and reduced the amount of either, I have to say both now because they fucking utilize both, black screen white text or white screen black text? Have they reduced that? No.
Aside from that, I mean, hell, I know firsthand a few people that log into ZZZ on a daily basis just to walk around as their favorite character in that game. And Hoyo knows this. They heavily market their characters through different trailers and teasers, which just promotes the idea that you can get invested in the characters themselves.
Bro, there is only one gacha game character trailer that has made me actually feel like a little bit uncomfortable. And it wasn't Cantarella in Wuwa. I really didn't think that was as bad as people were making it out to be. It was that fucking rat girl in ZZZ. Christ, bro. That shit was insane. That was insane.
Rather than whatever content and story you have available to actually play with them. While there might not always be something exciting going on in the game, they'll always make it seem like there's something to get invested into surrounding the game. If it's not the current character, it's the next. If it's not one game, it's another. And this is all part of their trap. They want you to always be thinking about their games because once you're in...
I was watching it, it was hot in the general consensus of it, right? But the whole layout of it, and it just felt like for the ZZZ, for a gacha game, they were just doing too much, man. They were just doing too much.
You're here forever.
Jesus. Creating a sense of loyalty.
So now you're in...
Oh, this is going to be interesting. This might take on like the community.
For the long haul. What next? Well, to explain, let me walk you through a scenario from my own life. It might seem unrelated, but just trust me. All the way back in 2014 when I built my first gaming computer, my friend and I decided to go with a Corsair power supply for it, and I've even still got the email of that. That power supply did end up having issues when I first got it, but not only did Corsair give me a replacement, they also gave me an upgrade to the 850i from the 750 that I previously had. And believe it or not,
is this a sponsor?
That upgraded power supply is still going strong in my current computer over 11 years later. So you might be wondering why I'm talking about old computers and power supplies. Well, it's because as a result of this scenario, I now recommend Corsair equipment as a whole to friends, to family, and others who I built PCs for in the past. As a result of the good interaction.
I actually have a fucking Corsair CPU cooling system as well. I do too, to be fair. I don't get paid for it, but I do too.
Support and the power supply that has lasted me over 11 years, I have some trust in their parts and some faith that their company will do right by me as a consumer. Whenever I buy PC parts now, I'm always on the lookout for Corsair parts first, because I developed a sense of loyalty over time towards their products before any others. How this relates to Hoyo is that
it wasn't even a sponsor.
Every single thing Hoyo does is under the motive of them creating that same sense of loyalty. They want us as the players to think positively of them, and they do this through everything discussed so far. Being generous early on into our playthroughs, giving out freebies like standard banner characters, and
communicating with the community when you fuck up and fixing things.
The rare example of Dr. Ratio that HSR got are all examples of them trying to get you invested in them. And that's not even mentioning the asinine amount of marketing that they do so their products are always on your mind. The more positively you feel about them, the more likely you are to get interested whenever they do different things like events or launch new games like HSR and ZZZ. What this does is it brings you into their ecosystem. Just like how I use and recommend Corsair computer parts, someone that likes Hoyo games will be just as likely to do the same with Hoyo products. For example, a lot of people tried HSR simply because it was a Hoyoverse game. While Hoyo undoubtedly spent an absolute ton of money on marketing on top of building that loyalty from their older games like Genshin, there's no denying that a good chunk of the success the game had is from people that already wanted more from Hoyo.
That's
something to keep in mind.
How much have I spent so far in Genshin as well? That was coming from a while ago. Holy. How much have I spent so far in Genshin? I would have to. Oh god, I don't even know if there'd be a way for me to find out unless you could get it straight from Hoyo. Probably on my account. It's not as. I think it's not as much as as a lot of people would think it is, to be honest. Trying to think. The only two characters I've ever like wailed was Nuvi and Mawika. Oh, I did also spend quite a bit, I think it was like $500 on the Wolves Greystone banner that they had, the Chronicle Wish one. 10k. I think it would probably be under 10k, dead ass. On my own account, I think it'd be under 10k. I think it would be probably around 7k on my own account. I've never R5'd. I've C6 characters, and I've topped up for other characters. I think probably about 7k. Well, I mean, also content creation, right? But yes, but a lot of people think it's way more than that. I've probably spent about the same amount doing giveaways for other people, especially with like your Laugh You Lose stuff. Maybe a little bit less. I probably spent around 5k for giveaways to people and about 7k on my own account. Maybe less than 7k, to be honest. I don't know.
Here, though, is that in comparison to my scenario with Corsair, the Hoyoverse ecosystem isn't all roses. Because
but that's also in 4 years. So,
you have to look at the context surrounding it.
3 to 4.
Like, Corsair gaining a loyal customer by having good customer support isn't something particularly insidious. They just wanted me to think of them first when I bought computer parts going forward. On the other hand, Hoyo's goal isn't just to get you in the door, it's to keep you gambling and spending more and more and more every single time you play one of their games.
Definitely.
Like, for example, if you buy merch of your favorite Genshin character at an event, is it a good product? Sure, the quality is probably...
I feel like I've gone through all steps of this, right? Like, yes, I was hooked into the game by the characters and stuff, and then pulling for the characters, and then I got into the habit of spending money to pull for characters. But now I feel like I'm at a step that's probably not going to be mentioned in this game, which is acceptance, right? My account's fine now. I don't need to spend on the game. I will not. I will very likely not spend another penny on Genshin Impact until I finish the game on my own account. For giveaways and stuff, I will, of course. But yeah, there's just zero need to. In games like Woo War, I'm kind of still in the cycle, but that's because I also like supporting the devs when they actually listen to the community and stuff and do cool shit. But that is also the sense of loyalty, so it is still in the cycle. It's very, very interesting video. I kind of like this. It makes sense.
Really nice, and you wouldn't have gotten it if you didn't want it, right? But it only serves the purpose of getting you more invested into whatever character you bought that merch of, and therefore Hoyo as a whole. Yep. Whenever you see that merch at home, you'll always be reminded of where it comes from. So what happens the next time that character's on raid up in your favorite gacha game? Seeing that merch every single day would probably incentivize you to roll for more copies, or maybe you'll get their weapon if you don't already have it. After all, they're your favorite, right? Maybe you're not a merch person and you're just a hardcore gacha gamer, always on the lookout for the new hot game. If you're already playing Genshin and Hoyo releases the new hot game Honkai Star Rail, you're probably going to start playing that one too.
Probably. Bro, I heard somebody earlier, I was watching a video off stream, and they were saying that they play like Genshin, HSR, Woo War, and then they listed off like 7 other gacha games, bro, and I was like, bro, how the fuck do you even play these games? How do you play so many gacha games? How the fuck do you have the time to do that shit and make content about it? Like, how? You got to be doing like 20-hour work days, dude. That's insane.
Oh, you're not only in the Genshin space, but the Star Rail one as well. There's more chances to find characters you like, more stories to get invested in, new generous content to play since the game has just started, and most importantly for Hoyo, more chances for you as the consumer to pull out your wallet and swipe just a little bit to get you started.
Part 5. It gets better before it gets worse. Wait, what does that mean?
So now we're at the part where I get to tell you why this is all a problem. You know, apart from the obvious point of saying it's a gacha, of course it's a problem. You might have read the title of this part of the video and been a little bit confused because the traditional way that saying goes is actually the opposite. With Hoyo games though, it's just not like that. See, something Hoyo's been doing for years now is always making it seem like the next thing is going to be better than what we have now, even when that isn't always the case. I mean, that's all the marketing that we've been talking about. To be at least a little bit fair here,
I feel like that was the case from Inazuma. Am I wrong? Not fully. I like Natlan was where it kind of didn't work for a lot of people, but I do feel like Sumeru was much better than Inazuma, and then Fontaine was marginally better than Sumeru as a community consensus, I would say. And then Natlan's like a fucking 50-50 split, dude. Dead ass.
Here, they do actually have patches in their games where it seems like things are good, but something worth noting here is that those good things come with a cost. First, we can take a look at a specific example from one of their games, and the easiest one to bring up is Genshin. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at the pull tracker for Genshin, but there's 2 patterns in there related to specific times of the year. Did you notice it? If you didn't, it's the specific patches that offer a lot of rewards, with the following patches having a big drop-off, and here's the points where that happens.
This is... Wait, dead ass? Hold on, what? This chart is...
I don't know if you guys have ever looked at the pull tracker for Genshin, but there's 2
Oh, it's a pull tracker, not like active player tracker. I was going to say for 5.0, there was more people on than every other 0.0 other than 1? No shot.
patterns in there related to specific times of the year.
Makes more sense.
Did you notice it? If you didn't, it's the specific patches that offer a lot of rewards, with the following patches having a big drop-off, and here's the points where that happens. Don't recognize anything special about those patches? Well, those are both the Chinese New Year patches as well as the anniversary patches. Both of these are meant to be a time where you get to celebrate, right? Like another year has passed and the game is still going strong. So us as players deserve to be showered with rewards and have a great time. To be fair to Hoyo, it generally is a great time. We get a lot of rewards as big events going on IRL and a ton of other things. But then the end of the patch happens. Now, going into the next patch, what are we...
I mean, this does make sense, though, especially because 5.0 and 5.1 are typically... Well, actually, 0.0 is usually anniversary, right? Is 0.1 Lantern, right? Oh, no, like these would be, right? The other two higher ones. So there's obviously more rewards, which means more wishes to spend on these patches. That probably has a lot to do with it, I would say.
We greeted with a hell of a lot less rewards. Seems weird, right? Well, not really if you think about it in terms of balancing. Hoyo's goal isn't actually to reward us at these times of the year, it's just to make it seem like they are. If we get anything extra, they'll be sure to withhold that from the next patch's rewards to keep the average the same. If we get 100 pulls on an anniversary patch and only 50 the next, then the average amount of pulls between the two patches is actually only 75. Doesn't seem too generous now, don't you think? Looking past just the rewards, we can look at the other things like quality of life and also the recently announced potential buffs for characters in HSR. These are things that Hoyo can do at any time, but they hold it above our heads like a cookie jar while saying, "No."
I deadass was under the impression for so long that gacha companies could not buff old units that you've already pulled for. I think they can't nerf them, right? But you can't buff them.
Not until I say you can have it. Even on the rare occasions that we do get those things, there's always something at play.
Yeah, guys, this applies to all gacha games. You're not wrong. Like I said before, I think this guy is specifically saying Hoyoverse because he played these games and knows about these games. It'd be kind of weird to just say all gacha games and then start talking about a game that you've never played and like not have time to do the fucking research for, right? I think it's good to speak about what you're knowledgeable on, and this guy seems to know what he's talking about Hoyo, so that's probably why he framed it as Hoyoverse, and also for clicks instead of just gacha in general.
Play that makes it not as simple as it seems. Like for the buffing system in HSR, don't get me wrong, I can't help but be at least a little bit excited by the prospect of being able to use my old characters again. As per usual with Hoyo though, this all comes with a caveat of context. Every character released in that game is almost always guaranteed to be stronger than the last one is. So for example, if their character Blade gets buffed whenever they implement this system, it's only a matter of time before he becomes a dumpster tier character again as stronger and stronger characters are released after him. Unless they actually implement the system properly, this quality feature really isn't all that impressive. For more general quality of life stuff, it can take years to implement, and even if we do get it, it's always done with a Hoyoverse twist.
I mean,
how long have we been asking for year loadouts in Hoyo games, only to get these all—
Well, hey, we have them now though. Right? We have artifact loadouts in Genshin. It was right there, custom loadout.
awful auto-equip systems instead. How long have we been asking to farm stuff like talent books and weapons?
My god, yeah. So if I read this one more time today, I'm actually going to get fucking enraged. I don't know why this is a feature in the game at this point.
Materials in Genshin, only for them to put out a survey asking us if that's something that we—
Dude, yeah, actually, god, oh my fucking god, I should have spoken about this in the fucking thingy video. Why did they fucking put this survey out if they weren't... For those of you watching the YouTube video confused, because this is probably going to go out tomorrow, we literally read through the fucking patch notes of Genshin Impact 5.8 yesterday, and yeah, I forgot that they actually asked us about this. This is going to be a 6.0 thing for sure. If it's not, holy fuck, I might need a new monitor.
We really won. Hell, even Wuthering Waves added loadouts recently. Talk about Genshin could never. These are tactics that Hoyo pulls across all of their games, from big events and anniversaries to quality of life, but it doesn't stop there, because they also do this when they release new games. Remember, they've built an ecosystem that we're all trapped in. So what this means is that not only do we get screwed by the things previously mentioned, we also get screwed whenever they want to launch their next title. And you could see this when both HSR and ZZZ released. HSR released on April 26th of 2023. What was going on in Genshin?
I didn't see that when ZZZ was released, bro. I tried it for a few hours and I realized that game was just not for me. And then I didn't play it again.
And at the time, you might ask, version 3.6, where they were running rerun banners. While reruns are nice, it's pretty undeniable to say that they don't sell super well, nor do they make the vast majority of the community super excited to log in and play. Apart from those reruns, we did actually have a small region release to explore, but not only was its entire purpose to put a bow on the Sumeru Desert exploration, but it was also the third desert region released in a row, resulting in not that many people being actually super excited for it. In other words, it was basically a major filler patch where people were looking for something else to do. So what did Hoyoverse ever so generously offer for players to do instead? Play their new game, of course, Honkai Star Rail, a new and exciting space fantasy RPG where everything is new and fresh and exciting. exciting.
I remember this, dude. I remember when HSR dropped. Holy.
Rather than just stick to the same old desert that we've been exploring for the past 6 months.
Yeah.
This then repeated in Honkai Star Rail when Hoyoverse's next game launched.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a buck, dude. I really enjoyed the desert exploration when it was like going from fucking temple to temple and going underground. Running from temple to temple was kind of boring as fuck because there was just nothing to do on the way. I genuinely enjoyed the desert exploration in like the inside temples and the puzzles. I thought they were really good.
Zenless Zone Zero. ZZZ released on July 4th of 2024.
I actually thought the forest areas of Sumeru were far fucking worse for exploration, in my opinion, and I know that's a hot take.
What was going on in HSR at the time? The end of 2.3, where there was absolutely nothing to do after you pulled Firefly and did a tiny bit of story. I remember that patch vividly, because for 4 weeks straight after finishing that story, the only thing I had to do in that game was log in, spend my daily stamina, and then Alt F4 the game. It says something when that patch had 5 events total, 2 of which were freebie rewards, and 2 of which were simply events where you got double the amount of resources for spending your stamina.
Yeah, not great.
So since there was absolutely nothing going on in HSR, what could you do? Once again, Hoyo ever so generously swooped in and launched their new game, Zenless Zone Zero. Everything that Hoyoverse does has a cost. While it may seem like things are getting better, it usually ends up worse soon after. And that's the cost that we as the players of their games feel. Whether it's for rewards, simple quality of life features, or game releases, they always try to screw us in some way, and it's for one reason. Hoyoverse doesn't see us as anything more than a walking wallet.
Except that's every patch now? Yeah. Can I ask why you don't like ZZZ? It's not even that I don't like it, bro. It's that I don't want to add another gacha game to the mix of gachas that I'm already fucking playing. I don't have time for it. The combat is basically... the combat's good. The combat is good. When I played it, the storyline was kind of just eh. The storytelling was fantastic, but I just wasn't engrossed in the story of ZZZ at all. If I'm not engrossed in the story, and the only thing that's good is the combat, I'd rather play Wu War at that point, where I'm engrossed in the story and the combat. The story right now is good. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. But I didn't enjoy what I played, so it's probably just not for me. It is what it is.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich! Hoyoverse's long game failed.
Alright, congrats. You've either made it this far in the video, or you just skipped directly to this section, so welcome in if you did that. Apologies if I get a bit heated in this section, but this is something important to me, and also something that I'm just passionate about. Over the years, it's become obvious that Hoyo is only interested in their long con. Their goal isn't to create a good experience, it's just to make it feel like what we're getting is actually worth something. They go out of their way to get as many people as possible to play their games, and then structure the first few patches of them to secure us as loyal customers. After that point, they just want to keep...
It's interesting. It depends on which games you're talking about, right? Or at least that's what it feels like sometimes. People are saying that current HSR stuff is literal peak cinema. And then it's like the recent Genshin stuff. The lore is fucking astounding to me. But the presentation of it is far lacking for what the billion-dollar company should be able to put out. So I think it depends on the game. And yeah, personal speculation as well, for sure. Yeah.
Keep us in a revolving door throughout their variety of games. If you don't have anything to do in one game, you can be sure the others will have stuff going on to spend your time and, more importantly, your money in. I mean, who needs real content when the next limited character can be shoved down our throat every other week across all their games? Like, everything I've talked about in this video is evidence that showcases Hoyo doesn't really give a shit about us. They're just interested in whatever they can get out of our pockets for the lowest possible amount of effort from them. And what that means is that whatever we get from them is basically just a leftover.
I kind of agree and disagree at the same time with this. I don't think it goes to the extent that he's saying it does, but I can see why people would feel this way. I can see why people would feel this way after playing for so long, especially if they just don't get what they specifically want in the game. My biggest personal problem with the way that like Genshin stuff is portrayed at the minute is just the portrayal of the story. It's just the storytelling. I couldn't fucking care less anymore about the end game and shit, dude. I just couldn't. And exploration's fun. It's fine. It is what it is. You'll have that opinion if you look at nearly every company. Absolutely, of course. I mean, everybody's trying to sell a product at the end of the day, right? He's presenting it in a very extreme manner. Yeah, I think that's what he was basically saying with, I'm sorry if I come across as, like, whatever he said. But yeah, I do think, yeah, I just don't think it goes to this extreme. I do believe Hoyo's passionate about their game, but I also think it isn't a priority at the moment. I feel like they're putting all their... This is my God's honest truth about Genshin right now, dude. I feel like they're putting all of their eggs in one basket with Nodcry. I feel like it's a humongous risk that they're taking to try and fix the community's, like, outlook on the game. And the story especially and how it's perceived. And honestly, dude, if they fuck it up, there's going to be a lot of people quitting Genshin. I guarantee it. I have faith, I have hope, but only time will tell.
For scraps off their dinner table. Hoyo knows that we're willing to overlook things like the missing quality of life, the lack of real content, and the insane amount of time it takes to fix any problems the games have if they stuff us full of rewards early on and try to essentially love bomb us whenever we get upset. By the time the excitement of a new game release wears off and all we've got is a leftover garbage, they can get away with doing the bare minimum, but by that point, their hope is that we're in way too deep to notice. Unfortunately for Hoyo, their con is very...
Wait, I dropped Genshin when Natlan released, dropped the ball with it, I rampaging Rhino. Bro, you quit at the worst time, bro. They literally have, like, basically a rampaging Rhino in the game now that you can become. You could be yourself in the game. You just gotta indwell the right story.
Very noticeable at this point. The small bits of quality of life and the generosity that they try to feed us just doesn't cut it anymore. The revolving door is getting old at this point. The lack of quality of life is getting old at this point. Our characters standing in a circle for 90% of the story in their games is getting old at this point. The complete and utter...
I think, again, Nodcry is aiming to counteract pretty much all of these points that he's saying. I am very hopeful for Nodcry, bro. I really, really am. I really, really am. But it will tell me as well if I should remain hopeful for the future or just let it be what it is.
Disregard for the community's wants and needs is especially getting old. And that's not even mentioning their blatant and prominent greed that is showcased across all of their games except for ZZZ for now. And I specify for now because the fun times that these games have are only temporary. It's a matter of time before their next game launches, and by that point, it'll be ZZZ on the chopping block. It is just such a shame that this company is using this awful business model and these terrible practices to make things worse and worse and worse as time goes on. Because if you look past the bullshit that Hoyo pulls to try to keep us invested in their games, there's actually some good stuff underneath. But
there's incredible stuff underneath, bro. There really, really is. Again, I think it's literally just listening to community feedback that go a really long way. And listen, hear me out, guys. Hear me out. Hear me out, please. Listening to community feedback is one thing. Communication is another thing. I think it'd really go, and I said this before, but I really do think it'd go a long way if they just every now and then put a statement out about what the community wants on whether they can or can't do it and if they will or won't do it. Like, just a little bit of communication would go a really fucking long way with this. Like, oh, no, sorry, guys. We're not going to add a skip button because we feel like it'd be detrimental to our game. Sure, Twitter are being fucking uproar about it, but I'd be honest, at least people would know that the fucking company is communicating with them and being open. Like, goddamn, I think that would just go so far.
Doesn't matter when you have to look past the hundreds of problems that these games have just to see it. Like, I love these games. I have logged into Genshin every single day since that game launched. I did the same for HSR and ZZZ too. I've been a loyal player because
if they do work on communication though, especially with like social media communication, bro, they got to get someone who's thick-skinned because oh my goodness, that community will fucking tear them apart, dude.
Long time, it felt worth it to me. But I just can't feel that way anymore with the current state of their games. Honestly, they never really did enough to deserve our loyalty to begin with, which is why it's so important that we both recognize and speak up about these terrible practices.
Sure, this isn't burnout? No, this is not burnout. This is just coming to terms with the fact that you're very frustrated about how the game lacks communication and meaningful changes for what you were specifically asking for in terms of this guy, I think. It's not a burnout.
That Hoyo follows.
But that's very different.
If we don't advocate for these games and this company to be better, then all we'll have is whatever bait Hoyo dangles in front of us to keep us here. If we stay in their revolving door, it won't matter when players quit one of their games because they'll have the next piece of bait ready. From Genshin to HSR, from HSR to ZZZ. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me a third time, and I'll make an entire YouTube channel to complain about your company.
Jesus Christ. Wait,
and I'll make an
Oh my god, bro's a HSR hater, man. Holy.
Entire YouTube channel to complain about your company.
That's crazy. That's a
As
good
this video
ending.
ends here, I just want to say thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. This video took a hell of a lot of work, so if you liked it, I'd greatly appreciate you dropping a sub, and maybe giving my other videos a shot too.
I'll sub. I feel like most of that video was put across very, very well-intentioned. He lied about logging every single day. Oh no. But yeah, the end definitely was just based on more frustration than anything else. But he's entirely entitled to be frustrated with it, bro. Deadass. Like, it just is what it is.